Hi everyone. So after Sunday's New Vision potential unit prediction, let's move on to the New Vision Awakened units. And again, my source for the New Vision Awakened units that we are for sure getting is, as per usual, the Brave Exvius wiki. And yeah, let's just dive right into it, shall we? So first of all, the Chinese New Year's units. Chinese New Year is on February 12th, and we are likely gonna see one New Vision base unit. We might actually also see two New Vision Awakened units. Those might be actually Cho. I believe Cho is a very, very good candidate. He's one of the most popular 7-star units and one of the older ones, as well as Ang. Ang's too pretty old and might see a New Vision Awakened. Xuan Wu might actually not see a New Vision Awakened because they got released last year, and they might be, although they might be actually fitting for the tag theme. I personally don't think that a unit that has been released just 1 year ago will already see their New Vision Awakened, especially if it's for Xuan, because Xuan Wu they were actually pretty good upon release. And actually the same applies to Baihu and Shukur. I hope I didn't butcher that name too much. Although I should state, if I had to guess between Xuan and Baihu, I would actually say we might actually get Baihu. Just because they are a potential tag unit, and if Gumi really wants to follow up the tag units that we are seeing right now, meaning Rain and Fina, as well as Dragon, they might actually take Baihu and Shuhua. But I'm not too sure about it. Like I said, if I had to put my money on two units, it'd be Cho and Ang, and we'll see about that. That's pretty much all that I can say regarding the Chinese New Year units. We have absolutely no information whatsoever as of right now. We will see more regarding this next week on Tuesday, whenever the usual news comes out. Or actually, for global exclusive units, the FFBE global team usually makes videos, so we might actually already know about this on Monday next week. So we'll see. I'm actually somewhat excited for the units. Xuan Wu was one of my favorite bolting strike chainers. They were super strong upon release. I'd like to have them again as New Vision Awakened, although it's unlikely, like I said. But we'll see. Next up, Valentine's units, right? Potential release date, just like in the New Vision video, 11th February. And regarding a tag unit, the only one that is actually fitting here is Signatio, right? So C-Card and Ignacio as a tag team unit might actually make sense. They are already a pair of two, so might as well make them go the full way, right? But we'll see about that. We might actually just not see any New Vision Awakened unit at all regarding Valentines. But we've seen new 7-stars every year so far, so might as well give us a New Vision Awakened, right? I wouldn't mind Sakura and Ayaka. I mean, they're also a pretty fitting tag unit. But just like Ignacio and C-Card, I believe they got released last year, so chances are rather low that we'll be seeing either of them. Wouldn't say no to any of them though. Right, but we'll see news regarding them potentially the week after the Chinese New Year's units. So we'll see about that. Let's move on to Lid and Jake. We don't have them on the global server at all. And I just want to stress this here, we might never actually see Lid and Jake base form. And if we do, they'd have to be a free unit because they were, if I'm not mistaken, on the JP server. So the notable things about Lid and Jake is generally that they have 4 elements they can imbue: lightning, ice, fire, and light. They have 100% imperils for all 4 of those. As you can see, they are already a very outdated unit. They only have 70% breaks. On cooldown, 74% attack and magic break. And also on cooldown, available on turn 3, they can increase physical damage against stone and machina by 100%. In light of being a 3 unit, you can see these 2 are not that strong at all. Let's check the shift form. Again, pretty much the same thing, right? They have physical lightning, 62x, all enemies attack with decreased defense by 80% in the base form, rather underwhelming. Limit burst, but it actually does a lot of things. It 100x's one of their abilities. But again, their damage is quite low, and you shouldn't be excited for them should they ever come to global. Me personally, I do not believe that we'll be getting them. I just wanna have them on this list for completionist's sake, because if we get them, I want them to have been on the list. And if they're not coming to global, well, so be it. Nothing of value is lost actually here. So next up, we've got Untamed Wolf Edel in her base form. She really doesn't get much from her base form in her Near Vision Awakened. She just gets more attack, increased modifiers for her main attacks, and passive 150 LB damage. And her LB is also being upgraded to also include 50% Beast Killer and 42x physical damage. She's way better in her shift form, where she is a Wind Evoke damage dealer. Now, as a Wind Evoke damage dealer, she's okay, but please be mindful that we will be getting a Faris, who is also a Wind Evoke damage dealer, rather soon-ish. And with soon-ish, I'm saying likely March, or at the earliest time possible, latest possible time, early April. But if I had to put my money on something, it'd be sometime in March, where we'll be getting Faris. Okay, Untamed Wolf Edel. Her Wind Evoke damage bolting strike frames, which is pretty cool, although we don't have that many bolting strike chainers as of yet. But it is a 70-0 split and a 100-0 ratio split, meaning this is pretty strong. And damage-wise, she is okay-ish. You shouldn't neglect her. While her limit burst isn't that good, her chaining ability is. So she might be actually considerable for Dark Visions as well if you want a strong wind attacker. Just putting that out here. Oh, and by the way, Wind Evoke damage, it uses physical. It's on a physical base, but since, well, Evoke damage does not use physical killers or any killers whatsoever. Just a side note, pretty much. Alright, next up, the real highlight next month. It is Draconian Princess Fina. Her base form, super uninteresting if you're asking me. You shouldn't care whatsoever about her base form. Yeah, you should still level up, etc, etc. I'm not gonna cover the base form because that is negligible. Let's dive right into her Brave Shift form. And I just want to mention this with the proper gearing, meaning full evoke gear, she is marginally stronger than Near Vision's Terra. The difference is quite low in terms of power, but she is stronger than Terra. So, one of the reasons is that she can more comfortably gain LB damage cap, Evo Magic, and Evoke. It is, when you consider full gearing, best in slot, etc, etc, she reaches higher numbers than Terra, and thus deals slightly, ever so slightly more damage than her. So if you didn't pull for Terra, but you have enough Draconian Princess to EX1 her, she's your girl. She will carry you throughout Dark Visions. When do we get her? I would suggest that it's going to be coupled with a Dark, Fina, and Saul. It would make the most sense, have an Evoke damage dealer paired with another magic damage dealer. Although I should state we are getting Ifrit Rain, who's also an Evoke damage dealer, paired with Last Will and Reagan next week. So what do I know? Or this week, sorry. It's Monday already, so this week. The day after tomorrow, we'll get Laswell and Reagan plus Ifrit Rain. So yeah, Draconian Princess Fina, please use her. She's super strong. And if you don't have her, you might actually want to consider using UOCs on her. That is, if you haven't pulled Terra or if you don't have Terra. She is your go-to girl from then on out. But if you have Terra, she's really just a side grade. I will have her, and in case I can't cap a Dark Vision Spores with Terra, I will just use Draconian Princess Fina instead and deal 5 to 10% more damage. That's pretty much all there is about it. Okay, next up, Radiant Lightning base form. Again, if you've seen the Neo Vision video where I talked about the potential February units, I still put in Lightning, or Savior of Souls Lightning in there because she might be getting released, but honestly, I'm still believing she's a March unit. So please take this with a huge grain of salt. The next two units, Radiant Lightning and OG Lightning, they are very likely to be released in March. Still, Radiant Lightning, what does she gain? She gains actually a Magnus ability with 110x lightning physical damage. So that's pretty strong. She also gains 500 static attack. Very good. 150 increased physical damage against Machinas. Her LB passive is also included now with 150 LB damage increase passively. She's also getting 50% attack and magic passively. She needed a lot of stuff to be good, and Gumi gave that to her, so that's very nice. And in her shift form, she does a lot of things, right? She has a 130 lightning imperil on her LB. She also increases via her grounders LB damage by 100%. It's on the lower side of things. We do have units such as Terra, Tifa, who are dealing more than twice of that. So, but still, it is on an ability that also deals lightning magic damage at 110x. And as you can see in her Brave Shift form, Radiant Lightning becomes a magic damage dealer. And she might not actually be that bad. I haven't done the math on her just yet, because technically she is a February unit. So yeah, but from what it looks like, she'll be pretty decent. Okay, next up, Lightning base form. Nothing really nothing really to be excited about. She gains triple cast passively. You don't have to gear anything for it. She has some okay-ish new bolting strike chains. Again, I wouldn't be too excited about the base form. It's all about the shift form. In her shift form, she can amplify lightning damage by 25% to all allies. She also increases attack and magic by 280% with her limit burst at max value. That is something to keep in mind, because lightning in her Brave Shift form is pretty much what Realm is right now. And as you can see, she has a grounded Magnus ability, 3 uses per battle, unique selection on multicast, where she mitigates damage from Machinas by 30% to all allies. She also increases damage against Machinas by 100% to all allies, and she also increases limit burst damage by 100% to all allies. While her gun resistance on her cooldown ability, 6 turns cooldown, available at turn 1. I don't like guns. Who uses guns these days, right? I mean, 35% is cool, but who uses guns really? So it's really all about her LB with the 25% lightning amp. Plus, she also imbues lightning to all allies for 3 turns, so that is pretty cool too. And her Magnus ability that also increases LB and amplifies damage against Machinas by 100%. So yeah, again, she is pretty cool in that regard. However, she only has an 80% lightning resistance imperil, which is on the lower side of things. But I guess, let me just quickly check on her. Yeah, you could technically use her base form to decrease light or to imperil lightning by 120, shift, have her use her limit burst, her grandis, or whichever you're needing, but I would suggest that most of us, if we're going for Machinas, we're using Eileen anyway. Eileen? No, I believe Eileen was for stone killing. I don't know, but we do have some decent Machina killers as well that are way more than that, and we can just steal with Masterminds on. But again, 25% lightning amp, that is where it's at. Plus imbue, of course. Okay, and that pretty much sums up this whole video. It's a little bit shorter than usually, but it's also due to the fact that we have 2 events, Chinese New Year and Valentine's, with no information whatsoever right now. So that leaves me with a little bit less to talk about than usually. Alright, well, that sums it up for the February units. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next one.